regardless of what decision is made, I still will be in this hell. I still will have to go through everything.
A husband pours out his heart in a South Carolina courtroom as the drunk driver who injured him and killed his wife on their wedding night admits her guilt. I have the sentencing of Jamie Komoroski and how her crime changed a family forever.
I want to address all the victims of the accident I caused and how truly and deeply sorry I am.
Welcome to Crime Fix. I'm Angenette Levy. On April 28th, 2023, Samantha Miller, who went by Sam, was celebrating marrying the love of her life, Eric Hutchinson. They were married in Folly Beach, South Carolina, and the photos from the wedding show they were having the time of their lives. They were so happy. But all of that came to an end within a matter of seconds, and for no reason at all other than one person's terrible decision to drive drunk. Jamie Komoroski got behind the wheel of her car. She was drunk. She was wasted, driving nearly 3 times the legal limit, and hit a street-legal golf cart carrying the bride and groom, Sam and Eric, and members of their wedding party. Sam was thrown from the golf cart and killed as Komoroski plowed into them, driving 65 miles per hour in a 25-mile-per-hour zone. Eric Hutchinson was critically injured, along with Eric's family members, Benjamin Garrett and his son, Brogan Garrett. Who could imagine that something so terrible would happen on a night that was supposed to mark a new beginning, the start of a new chapter in their lives? Jamie Komoroski was charged with Sam's death and with injuring Eric and Benjamin and Brogan Garrett. You will hear from all of them very shortly. This week, Jamie Komoroski's trial, it was scheduled to begin, but instead, she walked into court and pleaded guilty.
Mr. Williams, have you explained to your client the charge, the punishment, and her rights?
I have.
Do you believe she understands the charges, the punishment, and her rights?
I do.
Does she wish to plead guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
Do you agree with that decision?
I do.
Has she ever been evaluated to determine her competency?
She has not done.
Have you explained to her the violent and serious classification?
I have done.
And have you also explained to her the collateral consequences of these offenses, that being the suspension of her driver's license or the revocation of her driver's license, as well as the requirement of any interlock devices?
We have none of it. Just briefly. We have none.
Ma'am, raise your right hand to be sworn. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth? That's right. You can put your right hand down. I'm going to need you to speak a little more loudly for me, please. State your full name for the record.
Jamie Komoroski.
How old are you?
27 years old.
What was the last grade you finished?
I have a bachelor's degree
In what discipline?
science. And I have a bachelor in science and business administration.
And where did you get that degree?
Coastal Carolina University.
And how long ago was that?
I graduated in 2020.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
I graduated in 2020, so...
That's okay, the year is fine. That's what I needed. Thank you. Are you married?
No.
Do you have any children?
No.
Are you employed?
Not currently, but...
What was your last job?
I was working for, I was doing digital marketing, and I was also doing web design.
And how long were you employed in that capacity?
Web design for about 2 months, digital marketing for about 3.
Are you on probation or parole?
No.
The guilty plea spares Sam Miller's family the pain of going through a trial. But for Sam Miller's mother, Lisa Miller, the pain will never end. She told the judge about her daughter.
Not only was she my daughter, Sam and I had, excuse me.
That's okay, take your time.
Sam and I had a relationship probably better than most people that love each other. I'm very close with my other two kids. Our family has always been close. But Sam and I had a bond that was very different and very amazing, and we both had each other's backs all the time. We talk every day, her whole entire life. You know, most 30-year-olds don't want much to do with their parents anymore. You know, hey, yeah, I'll come over for Christmas dinner, but I'm not going to hang out with you all the time. And I'll lead into something else I'm getting off of. But in saying that, the last time I was with Sam before the week of the wedding, her birthday's 3/27. So on 3/27, a month and a day earlier, she called me for her birthday and she said, all I want, Mom, is for you to come see me, and for you to be with me on a birthday. And I brought champagne, and we brought cupcakes, and we went down to the beach at sunrise, our favorite time, and we did silly dances on the beach with cupcakes and champagne. That's what an amazing relationship is. She used to, when she was little, when my husband would tease me or tease her or whatever, you know, just he would act like he was saying things about me, and she would just get so mad. I'd be like, don't talk about my mommy, like, just defending me. Then when we divorced and I started somewhat dating sometimes, she met one of them, she'd get right up in their face and be like, you hurt my mama? I'll leave out the words she used. Hurt you, basically. That's the best friend.
The cases I cover here for you each day on Crime Fix show you how your life can change in an instant. And one of the scariest things that can happen in your life is if you or a loved one ever get hurt. But I want you to know, if you're ever seriously hurt or in an accident, your case could be worth millions. And that's where our sponsor, Morgan & Morgan, comes in. The firm has an army of more than 1,000 lawyers who will fight for what you deserve, and the firm has the track record to prove it. In the past few months, Morgan & Morgan has won big verdicts like $12 million in Florida, $26 million in Philly, and $6.8 million in New York. And all of those were much higher than the highest insurance company offer. Seeing if you have a case can be done in 8 clicks or less, and you don't even have to leave your couch to start one. And also another great thing, you only pay Morgan & Morgan if you win. There are no upfront fees. So if you're ever injured, you can easily start a claim at forthepeople.com/crimefix. Ironically, Lisa Miller is a substance abuse counselor working to help those who struggle with addiction to alcohol and drugs. She described Sam's wedding day and what she did to make it special for her parents.
She was kind enough to do her daddy-daughter dance with both of her dads, and nice enough to include both of them. And then afterwards, we're all standing there ready for the next thing to happen, and the DJ announces special dance for the most special person in Sam's, most important person in Sam's life. And it was me. And she played our song, and that's the last time I hugged my kid. It was on that dance floor. It was the most beautiful thing a child could do for their mom. And that's just unexplained, our relationship.
Lisa Miller asked the judge for the maximum sentence.
We've been sentenced to a lifetime of pain, as with half the world. As a mom, I can't even describe to you. I've lost my brother. I lost both my dads. This is so different. And it is scientifically proven that some kids' cells stay in your body. She died. We died. And she doesn't get a partial sentence. She doesn't get to come back to life in 10 years or 20 years. And we don't get to come back to life in 20, 25 years. This is a lifetime. Your Honor, I hope that you consider our plea. in the world's plea to hold the defensive responsible for her poor choices and to experience the legal consequences of her action. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Then Sam Miller's older sister, Mandy Jenkins, spoke.
It's obvious to everyone that Sam was a bright light in this world. A person full of love, laughter, and kindness. She touched everyone she met with her warmth and compassion. Her death has left a hole in our lives that can never be filled. I will never get to hear her voice, see her smile, or share any moments we have planned for the future. The pain of losing her is unbearable, and every day feels like a struggle to move forward. But, Your Honor, I don't have a choice to give up. Sam was an aunt to my 2 daughters. My daughters, Amber and Maisie. They're Auntie Sammy. I can't see the words. Despite Sam's constant care to everyone, the love she had for them was like no other, and it was mutual. Becoming a mother is the greatest milestone in my life, one Sam will never get a chance to do.
Also speaking, Sam Miller's mother-in-law, Annette Hutchinson, whose son Eric was critically injured.
Your Honor, I ask you to please consider Sam when you impose your sentence. Sam joined our family in March of 2019 when she chose my son. She was a force so lively and so full of love, especially for my son Eric. It was apparent to all of us they had both found the love of their lives. For over a year, Sam planned every detail of her wedding, a first marriage for both. She was excited and counting down the days, unaware she was also counting down to her own tragic death. On their wedding day, I had never seen Sam or Eric so happy. Their faces lit with smile the entire time, even as they waved goodbye from the golf cart they were riding on to start their life together. Photos in the video of the day captured the magic, but they are now too painful to watch or look at. Because our lives were forever changed moments later by the defendant when she recklessly sped through a quiet residential neighborhood into the back of the golf cart. In the police report, a witness described the crash as sounding like a bomb's explosion. That statement replays in my mind, thinking of the 4 of them struck in such a manner.
Ben Garrett was driving the golf cart that night, and his wife spoke of the pain this horribly preventable crash has caused, along with the emotional trauma.
Whenever I go 65 miles per hour on the freeway, I now think of how fast that really is, and that they were riding in a golf cart. It's terrifying to think of what they experienced as the defendant hit them going so fast. We know that it is nothing short of a miracle that these 3 men are still with us here today, and we know Sam had a lot to do with that. She is love and light, and the world will not be the same without her.
Brogan Garrett was also in the golf cart with Sam, Eric, and his dad that night.
Instead of remembering that day for the joy of a wedding, we now associate it with grief, trauma, and loss. The few more days that I spent in Folly Beach were not pleasant. When I finally returned to the rental that we were staying at, there was a dull feel to everything. The adults with us were usually taking naps or resting before they returned to the hospital to take their shift with my dad and uncle, while the older kids were tasked with keeping the younger ones entertained. My sister refused to let me out of her sight. They would be constantly taking care of me while my mom was with my dad. I was faced with having to try and help my brother while he struggled with emotions that were not meant to be felt and processed by a 12-year-old. Every little daily task was a struggle for me, and everything seemed to move in slow motion. When it was time to finally go home, we came to realize that my dad was not going to be joining us. And that devastated me and my siblings. Having to separate our family in a time where all we wanted was to be together was very hard. When we got home and were forced to return to our normal lives, it was a struggle.
Ben Garrett spoke about that night and the last thing he remembered.
While we were on the drive there, we were talking that night. You know, we were just listening to Sam and Eric talk, flirting with each other. Rogan and I were having conversations. We talked about the breakfast burritos at Bert's Market, how fantastic they were. And that's the last thing I remember that night. The next thing I knew, someone was tapping my shoulder, asking me if I knew where I was. And I remember opening my eyes and seeing all the lights and knowing that I was at the hospital. I had no idea how it got there or what had happened. The next time I woke up, I remember hearing Eric yelling in pain, just screaming, "It hurts, it hurts."
Ben Garrett is still suffering the effects of being injured and offered these thoughts about the time Jamie Komoroski will serve behind bars.
Jamie will serve her time and the penalty that the court decides, and we will respect that. She will eventually get out, but the prison that she has put us in will be with us the rest of our lives. We will never get Sam back. Our lives will never be the same. I think about having grandchildren and not being able to get on the ground and play with them. I know the court will do what it needs to do, and we will accept that.
And then Eric Hutchinson, the grieving widower who should be living his life with Sam right now, spoke about his loss.
Sam was my wife. I was sitting next to her on the golf cart. I've been thinking about what to say ever since that night. What do you say when your world's shattered? Physically, I'm in pain every day. My face hurts, my back hurts, my feet hurt. It's a struggle to get through every day. I've seen more doctors than I can count. I've seen more therapists. More psychiatrists, done more procedures than I ever cared to do. And I still feel I'm at the same point as when I found out that day. My world will be ever changed what happened that night. I think about that night every single day. In the last moments I had with Sam on the golf cart. She told me she didn't want the night to end. And I kissed her on the forehead. And then the next thing I remember is waking up in the hospital. And I see my mom's face, still wearing the wedding dress from the night before. And I knew instantly. And so I asked for Sam. I knew she wasn't there. I wish more than anything gives me instead of Sam. I wish I died that night, so she didn't have to go alone.
Hutchinson described what he and Sam are missing out on as her life was taken and his shattered in an instant.
She's not coming back. She's gone. She was my world. And I'd give anything just for 1 second to hold her again. She wanted children. And she talked me into having to. She wanted to know so bad that she wanted to start having kids, or trying to have kids before the wedding. But I was nervous that she wouldn't be able to fit into her wedding dress. So we decided to wait till after the wedding to start a family. I don't have joy, I don't have passion, I don't have drive. I feel like I'm stuck in hell. I wish every day that I died. Do you know what it's like to vow to protect your wife and to do anything for her, and then to lose her hours after that? Something nobody should have to go through. This tragedy has touched so many people around the world. I've received letters, messages, strangers all over the country or world just hit home with a lot of people. And they have shown so much love and support. Your sentence does not matter to me. If I had it my way, I'd give you life. It seems only fair since you took Sam's life. Regardless of what decision is made, I still will be in this hell. I still will have to go through everything. My brother-in-law will still have pain, will still have surgery. Sam's family will still miss their daughter and sister. Sam was a light to all of us. And she was the wrong person to die that night. This is a quote from Sam's vows. She said, "I will love you today, tomorrow, and until I take my last breath on this earth. I am forever yours." That was the hours before you killed her.
Then it was Jamie Komoroski's turn to speak.
I want to address all the victims of the accident I caused and say how truly and deeply sorry I am. Due to my poor decisions, a beautiful life was taken. A wife, sister, daughter, and friend of many is no longer with us. And for that, while I know an apology will fix nothing, all I can say is how incredibly remorseful I am. I also am truly sorry and remorseful for the physical and emotional pain I caused to the other family members. I wish I could go back and undo this terrible tragedy, but I cannot. I will live the rest of my life with immense regret for what happened that night. I also want to express my deep remorse and sincere apologies to all who were involved in this tragedy, including the first responders, police, friends, and families of the victims, and anyone who was hurt in any way due to my poor decisions that night. This will be something that impacts all of you for the rest of your lives.
Komoroski then vowed to do work to help others.
I take full responsibility for the tragic outcome that my decisions have made. I will carry this guilt with me for the rest of my life. And as much as I wish I could go back in time and have none of this happen, I know that cannot be done. A lesson I have learned is that just because you have good intentions or would never want to hurt anyone, if you aren't being responsible for your actions, you can and you will hurt people. I know I am going to be punished for these actions, and I agree that it is something that must be done. I would like to make it clear that whatever my punishment is, I will use the time to better myself, spread awareness about the dangers of drinking and driving, continue to help others with addictions through AA, and work every day to improve myself to give maximum service to the community and my fellows. Some ways I plan on doing this include staying extremely involved in AA and the fellowship of helping people recover from their addictions. I am able to do this because I know what it is like to be an addict. I did not want to believe that I had an addiction to alcohol before this tragedy, and so I told myself every day I was normal. The fact was, though, that I was helplessly addicted to alcohol, and that I was living every day with no meaning. This led to me not caring about how my actions would affect others. I never want to live my life that way again. I want the last thing that I say to be that from the very bottom of my heart, with every fiber in my being, how sorry I am, and that I take full responsibility for my actions. Hopefully one day you will be able to forgive me, but I know forgiveness must be earned. Regardless of whether that day ever comes, please know that I will always be devastated, deeply ashamed, and terribly sorry for what I have done.
Komoroski's words appeared to have little impact when it came to determining the sentence for Judge Deidre Jefferson. Take a listen.
I've listened very intently to everything that has been presented to the court, and I have taken into consideration the mitigation that has been presented. And based on what has been presented to the court, I find the following appropriate in the nature of sentencing. On the offense of reckless driving, reckless homicide, which is 2023 GS 103895, you're sentenced to the State Department of Corrections for a period of 10 years and $5,000, provided upon the service of 10 years. Yeah. On both counts of felony DUI, great bodily injury, you're sentenced to the State Department of Corrections for a period of 15 years and $5,100 provided upon the service of 15 years. And on the offense of felony DUI with death, you're sentenced to the State Department of Corrections for a period of 25 years and $10,100 provided upon the service of 25 years. These sentences are concurrent with one another. You'll get credit pursuant to 241340 if that becomes applicable.
The 25 years that Jamie Komoroski will serve, it's the maximum sentence. And by the time Komoroski is released, Sam Miller would have been 60 years old. That's it for this episode of Crime Fix. I'm Angenette Levy. Thanks so much for being with me. I'll see you back here next time.